Good morning. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be the second episode in the Grad School Chronicles series that I'm doing, where I'm doing my best to document my experiences in obtaining my Master's of Arts in Teaching and also obtaining a license to teach K through 12 art. I know that in my last video I was talking about possibly uploading once a week or something along those lines, but for this particular class there just hasn't been a whole lot to talk about that would be appropriately expressed through a video. But even though I haven't been filming about it, I have been writing about it. I have just a little WordPress blog where I'm just kind of writing more in-depth thoughts about the classes and the things that we're learning. It's www.erinO'Haganarted.wordpress.com. So if you'd like to check that out, I'm going to leave the link to that below. So this video is going to consist of two main topics. The first is I'll just be talking about how my experience with this class has been going so far and just be briefly discussing the things that we've been learning. And then the second part is going to be talking about my first lesson that I've ever taught thus far in this new little adventure. We just had to put together a 20-minute mini lesson for our class, and I'm very excited to discuss how that went, and so that will be touched on later in the video. So if you want to skip ahead to that, I'll leave the timestamp up here somewhere. Awesome. Alright, so right now I am taking Introduction to Teaching. I am actually almost done with it. There's only 2 class sessions left for this because like I mentioned in the first video, this particular program is a fast track program, so each class lasts half a semester rather than a full semester, and so it's really based around people who are working, which is awesome, but it's just really weird to think that this first class is almost done. It's already going by really, really fast. But so far, I'm really enjoying this class. I'm enjoying this new path that I'm on. I feel like I'm in the right place and I'm doing the right thing. The first thing that I was really nervous about when I started this new little adventure was that, you know, it's a bit of an investment, and I was really nervous that I would put down my tuition money and then go into this and just be like, I don't know why I'm doing this isn't what I want to do, and just not enjoy it, not enjoy what I'm learning. But that hasn't been the case. The subject matter has been very interesting, and I'm definitely enjoying being in a place of learning again. I honestly feel like I'm the kind of person who thrives when it comes to learning new things, and if things become stale or stagnant for a long period of time, I kind of lose my mind a little bit. It's been a very uplifting experience. So the class that I'm taking right now is called Intro to Teaching, but honestly I feel like a better name for it would be Problems in Teaching or the Ethics of Teaching, because that's what it mostly talks about. I had thought going into it that this class would talk about teaching methods and how to teach, but that hasn't been the case. It's mostly talking about what are the problems with teaching, where did some of these problems originate from, how are they still prevalent today, how can we possibly solve these problems. And so that's where the 2 books that I mentioned in the last video come in. The Teacher Wars talked about a lot of the issues with teaching and the history of those issues and where they all came from. And The Courage to Teach is more how to address those problems and how to find the spark within yourself again if you've grown tired of teaching, or if you've grown too frustrated with teaching or frustrated with your students. And I'll talk about those in a lot more detail in my book reviews. But yeah, that's been basically the gist of the class, and it's been really fascinating, just the different things that we're learning, not only through the books but through other in-class discussions. And it's interesting to hear other students' stories and how they've had to interact with their students and how they face these problems on a day-to-day basis. So to say that I'm learning a lot is definitely an understatement. I'm just soaking in all of this new information, and yeah, it's been really fascinating and really interesting so far. Homework-wise, it really hasn't been too stressful. 99% of our homework has just been reading, so I just have to carve out time, like an hour or so a night, to just make sure I sit down and read. And the readings have been pretty easy. They haven't been anything super technical or super difficult to read. It's just very simple reads. But the other parts of our grade are going to be a paper that I still have to write. We basically have to write a 5 to 7 page paper talking about what we feel makes a good teacher, kind of based on the readings and assignments that we've been doing. And I think the most important grade is for our mini lesson, which I'll get into in just a minute. And so my stress levels have been pretty good. I'm sure that this is going to change as we get deeper into the program, but I've been very easily able to work my homework and work in my class schedule into my life. It hasn't been super invasive. It hasn't been anything I've had to completely flip things upside down for, which is good, which is really, really good. Of course, I do not expect it to stay this way. I know that things are going to get crazier and more stressful, especially once student teaching comes around. But I think I'll be able to handle it. I think it'll all be okay. But in short, I am definitely enjoying this class. I still think that I'm absolutely on the right track, and I'm very excited to see what comes next. All right, so with all that out of the way, I want to talk about my mini lesson. So like I said, we had a time limit of 20 minutes, so that already made it a bit challenging because I really didn't want to have to go buy supplies. I didn't want to have to try to time out distributing supplies, cleaning things up, things like that. I just wanted to make sure that I taught a decent lesson within the 20 minutes that I had. And so what I decided to do was create a little lesson that discussed color theory and how it relates to emotions and feelings. And so as you can see here, I just have some index cards. These cards are just painted with a variety of different colors. I just used acrylic paint that I had on hand. And these cards have several different emotions written on them. I tried to split it half and half between negative and positive emotions just so we could have a variety of things to discuss. Okay, so then what I did was that I handed every student an emotion. I had them all put them face down on their desks, and then I put all the color tiles out on a big table. And so I just gave them my little spiel on how color connects to emotions, and I had a list of all of the emotions on a piece of paper. And so I just called out, okay, who has this emotion? Who has that one? Just so that I didn't have to wait for volunteers or anything. Like, everybody was kind of forced to participate. And so with this lesson, not only did I want the students to think about how color connects with emotions, but I really wanted it to be their own. I didn't want it to be a lesson where, you know, you put out all the different colors and then you say, okay, what color is the color of happiness? And then everybody says yellow. And the thing with that is that for a lot of people, sure, yellow does represent happiness to them, but yellow can represent different things to different people. And so with that, I wanted students to think about the color that would make them feel happiness and not necessarily what they felt would make everyone else feel that same emotion, if that makes sense. I write out my lesson in a lot more detail on my blog, so if what I'm saying doesn't make sense, just go to my blog, I have it there, and it's all written out, all nice and neat. And so right out of the gate, I was very surprised. One of the emotions that I had was joy. It was the very first one that I picked. I was like, okay, who has joy? And then a student got up and she came over, and the color she picked was gray. It was like a dark gray, and I'm like, okay, like, tell me why gray makes you feel joy. And she started talking about how she loves gloomy, rainy days, that's when she's the happiest and the most content. And rainy days, everything is gray and the sky is gray. And for her, that color brings her a lot of happiness and a lot of joy. And I was really, really happy about that because it totally hit the nail on the head about what I wanted out of this lesson. I didn't want people to come up and grab a card and feel like they had to pick the correct one. I wanted them to pick the one that they felt best expressed what they were feeling. The only thing that I wish I had done differently was that I wish I had rehearsed it a bit more. Like, maybe I should have even filmed it and put it up just to see how I speak and how I interact. I had a lot of likes and ums, and I realized I really wasn't making really good eye contact with the other students. It's been a long time since I've spoken in front of an audience of any kind. I did get some really good feedback from my professor. One of the things that he really liked about this lesson was that he felt that it could be expanded for all age levels. So I created this lesson mostly for high school, but he thought it was really good that you can make some slight adjustments for students of all ages. So maybe if the kids are really young, maybe it would be a more correct or incorrect answer. So like yellow would be happiness or black means sadness. Or you can even expand it to talk about different colors and how they're used in different cultures and things like that. And so I was really happy about that. The only, like not even negative, but the only improvement that he felt that I could have made, and I agree with this, I probably should have done this, was that I should have used some actual visual examples on how color influences emotions. So like I talked about a couple of Picasso's paintings during his blue period, and he just felt that I should have had an example of it just to show people. And I agree with that. It was just that I felt like I was crunched on time, so I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time lecturing, and I just wanted to get to the activity. But overall, it was good to know that I don't entirely suck at this teaching thing, and I feel like I'm at a good starting point, and things can only go up from there. Alright, so I think that just about sums up how things are going so far. I really hope that you guys enjoy this video, and if you like it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up so I know to keep making more videos as I go throughout my Masters of Arts in Teaching journey. And if you would like to continue following my journey through my master's degree, or would just like to check out any other content that I put up from time to time, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!